All right, everyone. In the latest wave of censorship, which is happening, a lot of it now is not quite the same as it was before. The last wave of censorship was ban people outright. The new wave of censorship is more about ridiculing people more than anything. I think everyone should be offended more. It's going to be difficult to offend me. I've been doing this for a long time. I like to piss people off. I think shit posting is a good thing. In fact, I think it's a healthy example of part of our civic culture. The idea of being irreverent is a very, very, very old idea. Sometimes people say, and old fogies mainly says, well, kids these days and stuff like that. They say weird shit and they use slang terms. Have you ever seen the graffiti at Pompeii? Where a lot of it is about people that were shitting in alleyways and people hiring prostitutes and stuff like that. Good people were arguably more edgy several thousand years ago than they are today. One of the oldest pieces of graffiti is a picture of Queen Nefertiti, actually. It's scrawled on the cavern wall outside of the work area where they were making, temples and shit. And at some point, apparently, one of the workers made a crude drawing of Queen Nefertiti. He would have been executed for this if it had been found out, getting railed by someone with a huge dick. Drawing dicks and offending people on purpose and joking around with people is, as old as mankind. I think people should be offended more. I think that people need to grow thicker skin. Don't be a pussy and stop, bitching. If you are, by the way, for example, a content creator, if you have any audience at all, and it doesn't need to be hundreds of thousands of people, it can be 10 people. If you create content of any kind, you're going to get weird criticisms all of the time. Defamation, spamming, which is the only way that you can get banned off of my channel, generally speaking. But you need to grow thicker skin because these things are funny. People will insult you. Well, laugh it off. Look at what J.D. Vance did, for example. It was highly politically effective. People make a weird Photoshop of him as like a fat, curly-haired dude, and he says, okay, that's my new profile picture. That's exactly the way to handle it. This is how I handle it. I get death threats on live streams at this point. I've had death threats thousands of times. People call me ugly. Sometimes they say you're too skinny. Sometimes you're not muscular enough. Maybe you're too muscular. Then you're a gym lump. Okay, you're going to get criticized for that too. Try branching out into cooking food and recording that. You'd best be a like an iron chef at that point. Otherwise, you're going to have, again, the same weird, insulting comments. But these are good things. It's good to be insulted. It's good to be ridiculed. I think that it's a lesson in self-control. And sometimes people flip out when they're criticized and they just go haywire over it and they have a big dick about it. What you should do is just ignore it, or conversely, you should retaliate by ridiculing the other person. In other words, you're basically exchanging fire with jokes. This is a good thing to do. It's better than shooting each other and stuff like that. So I think that it's actually a little bit of a pressure valve release, so to speak, for the human psyche. That is, that being offended um, to the extent that you are using words rather than, punching someone out or shooting them or something. I believe that that's a positive thing. This is why I'm so opposed to censorship online. I believe that when you prevent people from speaking, including in an offensive manner, especially in an offensive manner, because that's pretty much the only speech that needs to be protected. You don't need to protect somebody's right to say hello in the morning or something like that. That's not an issue. But you need to be able to protect their ability to criticize others, to criticize ideas, and to be, in some cases, highly offensive. Look at morbid stories, for example, which I'm having a great time writing. Oh my God, I had such a great time last night doing that. It's basically meant to offend the reader. The whole point is to disgust people. I read part of one of my stories out to somebody the other day, and they almost vomited. This is the whole point. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's like when somebody, they say, well, you stupid cracker, you don't know what you're talking about. Far right, Nazi and stuff. I laugh at this. It's funny. At first, if you start out as a young tyro, as I did at one point, way back in my 20s, at first, you might be inclined to hyperreact. You might be inclined to actually be offended by the criticism that you're getting. You won't understand necessarily even why you're being criticized. Once you become callous to it, though, it becomes fucking hysterical. It's hilarious. I mean, half the things that are said about me online are completely false, for example. This makes those people idiots. Idiots are funny now, aren't they? It's like watching the fool on the hill, roll down the hill because he lost his balance, because he ate too many fermented apples or something like that. These sorts of things are humorous at some point. It becomes absurdism after a fact. Effectively, society is absurdist because not a lot of it makes sense. It's the other thing. You should crack jokes about society too. Now, there's plenty of jokes to crack, like 10 trillion of them or something like that. It really doesn't matter where you live. There's something absurd about your government. Some people get this weird hyper-patriotic boner and they refuse to even criticize their own government. But everyone should be offended. If you have not been offended in your life, then, you really haven't lived life at all. The point is to turn the offense into humor and to laugh about it because it doesn't mean anything. Oh my God, somebody called you a racial slur. Well, how sad. Your options: A, file lawsuit, which you'll probably lose anyway, or B, fucking deal with it. That's the whole point. Somebody messages me and says, you stupid honky, I'm going to come to your house and beat your skull in. Okay, you're not going to. If people were actually serious about these things, I would have been dead more than 10 years ago. So you just laugh at them. It's hilarious. I think that we should be more offensive. I think that we should invent new racial slurs and stuff like that and fling them around like they were rubber bands being fired from your hand. By the way, that's a fun thing to do. You wrap it around the pinky and the thumb, and then you fire it off. It's funny. I nailed my dad the other day that way. It was pretty funny. These sorts of things are humorous. Don't take offense at all. Don't worry about things. All you have to do is have a good sense of humor and realize, it's just bullshitting. It's basically like dudes getting loaded in the bar and they insult one another and then they laugh about it. And by the way, dudes are better at this than chicks. I'm just saying, dudes tend to have more of an overdeveloped sense of humor when it comes to insult. It's really, really funny. There's actually a relatively well-known meme, and it shows the difference between men and women. And the women are like, they're all, hee hee, and you're so beautiful. Oh my God, I love your nails and stuff like that. But then one of them leaves and they're like, oh God, she's such a bitch. Yeah, I fucking hate her. She's a slut. Then the dudes, they get together. And it's like, hey, bastard, what's up? Hi, you stupid fucker, and stuff like that. Then a dude wanders off, and they're like, damn, that's a cool dude. Yeah, I love him. I love it when he is around. I'm sad he's gone. There is a difference, a calculable difference between the genders based solely on that particular topic, by the way. Proving that gender is dichotomous, by the way. Yeah, we insult each other just for fun. So I don't understand why people get so hot and bothered when they get insulted on the internet. Go ahead and call me ugly. Yeah, I'm Crack Phantom. That's funny. That's actually a hilarious joke. That's about all. Peace out.